Hello and welcome to my review of the new individual releases for Space Marines for Warhammer 40,000. There will be another video after this which looks at every single new Space Marine release, which covers all of the miniatures from the Leviathan box set, and I'll of course be talking about all of the models in that set and comparing them to some of these, because there's a duplication of units. So what I'll do first of all is go through each unit individually. I'll pick them up, I'll show you them, I'll go through their positives and negatives, their pricing and things. I have just finished reviews for all of these kits. You can find them easily on the channel. I do create playlists, so there's a playlist for Warhammer 40,000, there's a playlist for Space Marines, they should be in there. Or if you just type in anything kind of Warhammer related, like a unit, and type in Super Saiyan afterwards, YouTube's usually pretty good and will direct you to one of my videos. So first of all, just a big thank you to Ed. I wasn't going to pick up the Space Marine Codex right there because I was a bit disappointed with the Tyranid Codex, the 10th edition Codex. I recently found out through the Space Marines releases that in Games Workshop, I'm not sure why, but they give you the rules for free on the app digitally until the Codex drops, and then they lock it all behind the paywall, behind you buying the Codex. So it's really odd because you have access to all the rules for free up until that Codex drops, and then they charge you for it. It's really bizarre, and I hope they change that for the health of the hobby and for the health of armies, because a lot of the times rules sell models. I'm sure they understand this by now, I'm sure. I'm not going to get into a rant about Games Workshop and about Space Marines and things and rules, but it's just a point to make that I wasn't going to pick up the Codex. Ed kindly donated the Codex to the channel, so thank you, Ed. And I've been able to review with all the rules all of these miniatures. You know, without that Codex, without access to rules, I would not be able to give you the rules section of the reviews, and that might happen in the future. I'm just putting that out there. The Tyranid Codex was so disappointing for me that that's put me off all of the other codexes. The Space Marine Codex isn't too bad. I don't know what it is, but it just seems it's not too bad. There we go. Right, let's get into the miniatures then. So first of all, I want to say that Games Workshop, again, these decisions, right? They decided to release all of these miniatures, all of these box sets and the Codex and the Special Edition Codex and things like that on the same day, which is just ridiculous. I'm a big supporter of them staggering releases. There's no real need to release everything in one day. If there's a unit or product that customers not really keen on, then they can always wait the next week or the week after to pick up the one that they are waiting for. Also, it puts a lot of pressure on you know, creators like myself who don't get sent anything for free to unbox and review everything in one day. The only people I think it will benefit are sort of tournament players and people that play often. You know, the people that will pick up these sets on release day, they'll build them, they'll paint them, and then they'll play them that evening. But yeah, that's the only kind of demographic I can think it would sort of benefit, unless you're a collector that wants everything on one day. But it does put a lot of pressure on building everything in one day. Anyway, let's have a look at these miniatures then. So first of all, the Terminators. This is a multi-part kit. I guess it's multi-pose in a way. You can swap the arms and things around with all of them. It's a nice kit, as I said in the review. It's one of the best kits in this release, along with the Sternguard Veterans. I'd still say the Sternguard Veterans are the top trump of this whole release. But, you know, many people may have already picked these up in the Leviathan set and found out that they were you know, monopose, push to fit minis, which is fine, but these are the multi-part, multi-pose Terminators. Games Workshop have written down themselves, so this is straight from them, that they are Terminators that have either Space Marines or Primaris in them. They're not necessarily Primaris Terminators, so just let that sink in. That's straight from them. Whether you agree with that or not is Well, neither here nor there, because it's a fact coming straight from Games Workshop. Much like I disagree with the whole premise of Games Workshop creating Primaris Space Marines just to gloss over making Space Marines larger, so that all Space Marine players will buy the same Space Marines again. Space Marines are their biggest seller. They will always sell Space Marines in various shapes and sizes. They sold Legacy Space Marines for 20, 30 years. They're now selling Primaris. They're selling different kind of flavours of Space Marines in Horus Heresy. And now they've just released Legions Imperialis, where they're selling you itty bitty tiny Space Marines, so that everybody will pick up Space Marines in various different sizes throughout the decades. But anyway, moving back to these, fantastic kit, thoroughly recommend. They don't give me the same pleasure as the kind of early 2000 Terminators. I was there, I remember them, I picked them up, and there was such a big difference between those Terminators in 2004, I think it was, and the ones that came before. These are just bigger versions of what we've had. There's a couple of differences, but the detail isn't massively different compared to the previous two iterations, and the differences when they released the early 2000 Terminators. So while it's nice to get these Terminators, try and look at it from a point of view of they'll match my Primaris Space Marines better than the previous range. And because they're such a nice kit, I have high hopes that the close combat kit will be on its way, especially as I've just revealed the new Deathwing ones. Probably will also get Grey Knight Terminators, but they have to rewrite the lore a little bit in terms of how Primaris have come into the Grey Knights, considering Primaris is still pretty young in the whole lore side of things. Then we've got a Chaplain in Terminator armor. Of course we would, you know, we've had upgrades to proportions and sizes with other characters in Terminator armor, much like with the Leviathan set and the Librarian there, and the Captain in Terminator armor. Of course this was you know, predictable, but what wasn't predictable is this shield. You know, for so long Chaplains have survived with their 4+ invulnerable save with their Rosarius, and they've never really needed a Storm Shield, but this time we get one with a shield, which is fine, but there's plenty of options to give him but there are other options to give him a different Crozius and you know, the old school and a Stormbolter, if you like that old school kind of look. So that's fine. Bit pricey though, these individual Space Marines. We also had the Lieutenant, which was a miniature way back in the kit that came out about 5 or 6 months ago, along with the Brutalis Dreadnought and the Desolation Squad. So if he looks familiar, that's where he's from. Like we needed another Lieutenant, but I guess, you know, they needed to, but I guess they finally wanted to make one that has some options, and this one does have a multitude of options, with the exception of a shield and a Volkite, or is it a Neo-Volkite, I think, pistol. This one I've given a Power Fist and a Plasma Pistol. I think it works fine, just because so many of my other Lieutenants have a Power Sword, and have a Power Sword. So that's the Lieutenant, it's fine, but again, bit pricey. I think that one's like £22. Space Marine Company Heroes. What a disappointment. A disappointment in terms of a kit, not a disappointment in terms of miniatures. The miniatures are, on the whole, lovely. This is one of the rare times where we get a Primaris Captain, plenty of options. Again, there's a Volkite pistol, a Power Sword. You can give him a number of different things. He looks cool. He's on a double tactical rock on a 40mm base, so he stands head and shoulders among all of your other Primaris. This kit separately would probably cost, well, at least £26, the same as the Chaplain, I'm thinking. Maybe they could push £28 for him. But, you know, to have that in a kit that's 40 quid is worth the entry price alone. Then when you factor in, you also get an Ancient, which again would normally cost over £22. You've already made your money's worth just on those 2 minis. And it's a nice miniature. Nice to get a Primaris with such a tall banner, one of the largest banners, and a bit of a centerpiece. You also had a couple of veterans in here, which I'm not a massive fan of, just because of their weapon options. They're just not special enough, I don't think, to have in this set. You can have a heavy bolter Space Marine Primaris anywhere, and likewise with this veteran. I just wish they should have been equipped with more esoteric weapons, or like a multi-melter or plasma gun or plasma cannon, something like that. The Champion is really cool though. I like this model. Reminds me a lot of the Blade Guard, you know, without the shield. So disappointment in terms of parts and things for that kit. Hard to recommend that and to modify it. Then moving over to the Desolation Squad. Again, this was in that kit that came with the Brutalis Dreadnought and the Lieutenant. I didn't like these at all when I first saw them. I thought they looked silly. They had Nerf guns, probably because of the ammunition feed into them. But what I've managed to do is convert them, as you saw in the review. I haven't managed to do anything with this belt, with this ammunition belt to the rocket, to the Castellan rocket launcher. But I have managed to just basically put the super crack missiles on the power plant there, which I think looks better. They still look funky with that long barrel and the ammunition feed, but definitely an upgrade. Definitely an improved aesthetic, I think. They're quite pricey, you know, £35. They actually fall into the same price point as 5 heavy intercessors, which have the same number of parts. Then we've got the Brutalis Dreadnought. Fantastic Dreadnought. I really enjoyed building this. I will pick up another one unless I spot it in a army box set, or, you know, when they do these box sets with you know, like one new unit per faction, and they just bundle in a couple of other models in the army set. If they have one of these in that set, I'll be all over it. It's a nice model. It's a nice model, other than the silly Iron Hail heavy stubber. I think missing some kind of ranged weapon in the fists is a missed opportunity. But I wouldn't hesitate to build another one of these with the regular fists and all the heavy bolters and Brutalis bolters. But it's good. It's posable. You know, even without me gluing any of these, and I don't know whether I will glue them. It's quite cool how you can pose it and, you know, change the whole feel of the Dreadnought, really. So yeah, nice kit, that one. Then the best kit of the whole release, in my humble opinion, is the Sternguard Veteran Squad. I can't say enough about these. These have contributed to the majority of my spare bits in my bits bag. You get so many spare parts, it's unbelievable. I still would have liked to have seen more than 2 kind of combi weapons per one, but the combi weapon rules look a little bit different now, in that it doesn't matter whether you've got a combi melter or a combi plasma, they've still got the same rules, so they haven't like split those down anymore, so you don't have to specifically cut plasma guns and glue them onto bolters just to make those combi plasmas. That they have the same rules. The Sergeant is just fantastic, and I can easily see myself using this Sergeant in a normal squad of intercessors, just to add that panache, that bling to the unit, to spice it up. Fantastic mini, really cool. Can't say enough good things about him. And I liked how they have created new helmets for Primaris 2. These aren't old helmets, these are obviously new helmets that they've made. Of course they've got the STCs and they know how to build Mark 8 and Mark 9 armour. So what they've done is they've given one of them a Mark 6 helmet, which I think works really well, especially with the plasma obviously, and then they've given another one a Mark 8 helmet, which again is fantastic. I think think you might have noticed that we've got this Mark 8 helmet in with the stern guard from the Leviathan set, which of course were Primaris as well. Full Primaris set that. Then we go on to a not so great kit, a bit like with the Heroes. Another kit that was disappointing for me was the Jump Pack Intercessors. Games Workshop should really sell these Jump Packs separately, because I think that the poses that you get in the multi-part Assault Intercessor squad work very well with these, and I can see a few people converting them. Points wise as well, it doesn't make much sense you go in for the normal Assault Intercessors instead of these. For some reason the Assault Intercessors can take a Thunderhammer, but these can't. That's the only difference for points as well, and these obviously, you know, can move a lot faster. But they're a nice looking kit, but other than that, the poses are alright. You're going to get some same poses if you go for 10 though, but you can mix and match all of the arms and things, and the Sergeant isn't too bad with that plasma pistol and power sword saber type weapon. We'll end on a high with the nice looking Captain with Jump Pack. We haven't had a Primaris Captain with Jump Pack. This Captain will be included in the Battle Force that's up for Christmas. It's an alright looking Captain. I'm not sure about the long cloak, especially with a jetpack, but Blood Angels players will rejoice with that. I've given him the sort of elongated plasma pistol. You're going to look very samey if you have another one of these though, and but does the job, and it's just nice to see a Captain with a Jump Pack. Maybe this sets the scene for more characters with Jump Packs of Primaris size. So there we are. That is my review of all of the new Space Marines in the individual release for the army. I didn't think that I'd get to a point where I could review all of the new releases for Space Marines. It was touch and go at one point, but I'm pleased to have the opportunity to do that for you. Certainly a couple of these kits are questionable, but on the whole I think they are an improvement, and it's nice to see more of the range in a larger size. I know that appeals to many of you that are collecting Primaris, and you want all of your Space Marines now to look the same and to fit, and I think the Terminators and now the Assault Intercessors bring that, and we're now getting more characters, and you know, like the company Heroes and more Stern Guard that will just bump that up. In future, of course, I would love to see some extra units like a multi-part Outrider squadron, like Scouts on bikes. We are getting the new Scouts in a kill team set with Striking Scorpions. We're getting a Captain in Terminator armor that's multi-part, multi-pose. No doubt we will get some close combat Terminators or Assault Terminators. We'll probably get characters with Jump Packs now. Maybe we'll get some different Devastators. Thing is, the Desolation Squad kind of plugs that gap now. Maybe we'll get some new Dreadnoughts, like an Ironclad kind of siege Dreadnought with missiles on the top. I know we've had the Ballistas, but that was a bit meh. And I can only hope that we'll get some bigger, beefier Centurions, some kind of Primaris in that Centurion armor would be great. But what do you guys think of these new releases? And which is your favourite kit out of all these? I've said it before, my favourite kit is clearly the Stern Guard Veteran Squad, and closely followed by the Terminators, just because they are bigger. But I do have shout outs to the Captain in the Hero set and the Ancient, as well as the Brutalis Dreadnought. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and hopefully you'll join me in the next video where we'll have even more new Space Marines on the table. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.